Well, this
something.
says BR, so that
Right,
tells me that
exactly.
means battery regen.
You might think that.
Yeah, but it could mean...
But it could mean brr, like when the car's cold.
Brr.
You wanna have that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Gucci Mane.
Mm-hmm. Hey everybody, it's Charlie and Chris with Daily Motor, and we are on location out here in Topanga, California, driving the 2021, but essentially same as the 22, Toyota Mirai, or Mirai, depending on who you feel like pronouncing it. I actually watched a Toyota video and they said Mirai.
Mirai.
Not
Mirai.
Not Mirai.
So it's just either you emphasize the I or the R. It's
Sure.
your choice.
Sure. Yep. Very cool looking car and pretty unique in that it is primarily propelled by hydrogen. So we're going to go for a little DM quick drive here today, talk about what it's been like driving the Mirai around for the last few days, what it's like driving a hydrogen vehicle, and we're actually going to go and try to procure some hydrogen as well to put it in the car to compensate Toyota a little bit for our driving and just to experience what it's like finding and then inputting hydrogen.
Neither of us have ever done that.
Yeah,
so.
It's something you can't really do outside of California or the UK, as we know that James May is a proud owner of a Mirai.
He is a Mirai enthusiast.
Yes. This car is actually based on the same platform as the LS, the big old car. And it makes sense because when I saw you driving in my rearview mirror last night, Chris, I did a few times think, is that an LS? But no, it is a Toyota Mirai, and it looks cool.
It's very Lexus-ish. Toyota introduced this new design of Mirai when they were in the process of phasing out the Lexus GS, which no longer exists, because prior to this, the Mirai kind of just looked like a Prius.
Yeah.
It was very egg-shaped, it was a little bit smaller, and then surprisingly, they actually made it look a bit more like a luxury sedan, and saying that it shares platform with the LS makes sense.
It looks very unique. I mean, yeah, there's definitely the similarities to the LS and everything, but it does strike its own chord. It's very striking. I love this paint color. Yeah. There are two trims for the Mirai, an XLE and this limited trim. This one coming in about $66,000, which I will point out, Toyota includes $15,000 of hydrogen charging credit.
Yeah, so you just
you kind of take that out.
Yeah.
Yep. So you don't really have to worry about the going rate of hydrogen at any given time. But the other cool thing about this car is that it's rear-wheel drive. So it is a bit kind of fun to throw around. It's not the most sporty, only about, if I remember correctly, and you will have already read the specs, but about 180 horsepower and 200 or so pound-feet of torque. You actually lost torque with the second-gen Mirai, but gained horsepower. I was a bit surprised that this wasn't powered.
Me too, but we don't like power trucks.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. It just caught me off guard. Not the most space, but honestly, for a sedan, not awful. It is enough that we fit a pretty large suitcase and a backpack and still some room for other things in here.
Yeah, and the reason for that being between the back seat and the trunk is your battery.
Yes, you have a battery down there, and you actually have 3 hydrogen tanks. So you've got one under the battery, one kind of in the middle of the car, and one sort of in the seat area as well.
Do you want to pop the hood and show the fuel cell?
Yeah.
I think you should explain to the viewers how it works, and I'll try not to fall asleep while you do that.
So essentially, this car is a hybrid vehicle. It's got a battery, but it also has a hydrogen fuel cell. And what happens is you have compressed hydrogen gas. It's not a liquid, it's a compressed gas in the tanks. And it comes into this fuel cell here, and it brings in oxygen from the ambient air. And actually, Chris, you'll be an enthusiast of this. It essentially has a supercharger because it takes it as an electrically driven air compressor pump, if you will, and it sucks in the air, forces it in so that it can get more air to combine with the hydrogen. And then there's a little bit of a chemical reaction. It strips off electrons from the hydrogen atoms, and they create the electricity to propel the vehicle and go into the battery and everything. And then the byproduct of that is simply H2O, or what we know as water. And that comes out of the rear in a little tailpipe. Yeah. And that's all this car does. It produces pee.
That's
Mirai
right.
pee.
I was just going to say, I was driving behind you yesterday or 2 days ago, and like it just steams from the back. You think like, oh, it's probably, the average person thinks, oh, it's exhaust smoke, but it's steam, and you can see little drips of water coming out. And there's actually a button inside that'll purge the system. There's a little H2O button, and it'll
right. And I looked up kind of why you'd use that, and they pointed out, say for example, you're pulling into your garage or a parking structure, you didn't want water dripping there, you could get it out beforehand.
That's right.
Yeah, you still kind of have an engine kind of feel, if you will. This is still a front under the hood sort of propulsion unit, kind of where the energy is made, and then you've got the power sent to the rear wheels, and it operates as a hybrid vehicle because sometimes you want that extra energy that's produced by the hydrogen fuel cell stored up in the battery so that you can kind of get going right away and have that electric oomph right off the line. But let's take a quick look at the back seat, as we often do here at Daily Motor. And we did utilize this back seat. Not huge.
There are many things back here that I forgot about.
Yeah, you'll see it comes with a dress. That is standard equipment in the Limited. It is a bit limited back here, isn't it?
The back seat is small, but that goes along with what I said earlier about the trunk being small, is that there is a large area in here where the battery lives.
Yes.
So
you do have some charging ports though, and some air vents. Big ol' hump right there. There's probably a hydrogen tank right there.
There is, yeah.
Yep. And then maybe some drive. Ooh, did you guys pull this down when you were back here?
Did not.
This is nice and large.
And cup holders too.
What is this a power button to?
To the heated seats and everything. Oh no, it's probably just for your climate.
Oh no, I can see right here. Yeah, you've got.
And there's a sunshade back here. I didn't even.
Yeah, you guys were missing out on so much. You could have had your heated and cooled, as well as control the HVAC. This is like a Toyota Lexus like king seat.
Yeah.
Controls right here. That's pretty cool. So I mean, honestly, this car is a little bit pricey, but they kind of made it worth your while in the neat, very Toyota-esque features. Or I should say Lexus-esque, despite this being a Toyota. But it is limited back here.
Yeah.
In terms of size, and I'm not getting all the way in because Chris has a camera back here.
Yes, and Emily has other many things.
I was going to let Chris drive, but now I've decided I'm just going to drive.
Okay.
We're going to go very unconventional for Daily Motor. Maybe Chris will drive here.
Well, this is a quick drive, so,
right, so
it's already unconventional, so we can break a couple rules.
It's also a bit unconventional in that we will be fueling the car with hydrogen. It's not something we typically do.
That is strange.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's off-brand for us.
The good news is the passenger seat goes down. It doesn't go back super far, but honestly, in this position, I'm pretty comfortable.
Good. I want you to be comfortable.
Thank you.
Getting in and driving from a control standpoint is very similar to something like a Toyota Prius. You have a very similar shifter to what you get in Toyota electric vehicles. Yes, Chris?
I'm slow over this part.
Yes.
As we, Okay.
Not the world's most ground clearance in this vehicle.
No, but that's not what it's really for.
Right. You want efficiency.
Massive sunroof.
Yeah.
The whole roof is basically glass in this. So that's pretty neat.
You get going and you hear the little buzzes and slow speed noises of a Toyota hybrid, and you kind of think, oh, well, I'm expecting to hear a loud, clattery gasoline engine come to life, because that's usually what you get in Toyota hybrids, but it's not the case. You give it a little extra gas and you just get this kind of fun whizzing sound, kind of a whir and a buzz combined, a whizz.
Yeah.
And you get whisked away.
It's very much like a spicy EV in the way that
spicy EV.
It behaves most of the time just like an EV, unless you've got the radio down and you're listening to some of the unique noises it makes. But you could put someone in this and tell them it's an EV and they'd believe you.
Yeah. We should get a little B-roll shot later of us purging the H2O system and drop it in.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
We're talking about that.
Interesting spot here for the wireless phone charger.
Yeah, I don't think mine would stay very well there.
No, I don't think mine would either.
Yeah. It does say Mirai here, taking inspiration from the Toyota Tundra in letting you know what you're driving at all given times.
Ground clearance test.
Yeah. Now, I don't believe either of us have been left yet on this road, have we?
No, we haven't.
But we're not going to go that way because we need to get down to the hydrogen fueling station.
That's true. And Charlie, you will appreciate this.
The battery screen.
Yes.
Yeah, showing you where all your power is going. Always have to have that up.
Yeah.
What has been interesting to me driving around is that the battery never seems to get below 4 or 5 bars. Even when you're coming up the hill, it doesn't seem to deplete the battery very much.
Okay.
You'll notice that as we regenerate down this hill, we're going to get up to nearly full battery. We're already up an extra click there.
That's right.
But it doesn't use a lot of battery going back the other way, and I find that a bit strange.
I also noticed yesterday that it does have a B mode for regen, but it cancels as soon as you press the accelerator.
Oh.
So you can put it in B mode and it'll stay as long as your foot's off the accelerator, but as soon as you touch the accelerator, it goes back into D. So I don't know if there's some sort of setting you can take that off of, but it's also not a super strong regen.
Yeah.
It'll regen enough to put the brake lights on, but
Toyota B modes, at least in the earlier Priuses, meant something different than what we're used to with a lot of vehicles now. So it's possible. We'll have to check the manual.
Well, this says BR, so that tells me that means battery regen.
You might think that.
Yeah, but it could mean...
But it could be brr, like when the car's cold.
Brr, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Gucci Mane.
Mm-hmm. How did you enjoy driving this car through some spirited roads last night?
I liked it. This car is nice because you can... It's very easy to drive no matter what you're doing.
Yes.
So we've also been driving around a Porsche Cayenne this week.
A little bit different than this
Yeah,
car.
a little bit
Actually
different.
Actually gasoline instead
That's
of hydrogen.
right. So I love the Cayenne, but it becomes a little bit of a chore to drive when you're downtown, when you're parking anything, because the steering is so heavy. And when you're in this Mirai, it's very easy. The steering is very light, like a Lexus or anything else.
Yeah.
Luxurious. The steering does have a luxurious steering feel, and I mean, I enjoy driving it in a spirited setting as well. The chassis is very nice. It feels very dialed in. It doesn't feel, you don't get a ton of body roll or anything. It does still feel like an car because it is an car. They didn't go over the top and lift this thing up and make it like a stupid SUV or anything. So plenty of torque as well.
Yeah, I was really impressed driving it around the city the first day we got it, mirroring some of the things you just, or I should say, echoing some of the points that you made about the light steering and everything. But yeah, the torquiness as well really makes it satisfying getting away from stoplights, getting kind of zipping and zooming where you need to go. It doesn't feel like a small car, but it also doesn't feel like a large car. It's a nice in-between. It's got a nice low stance. The rear-wheel drive nature does kind of give it not only that sporty look, but kind of a sportier feel for pepping around, and kind of lightens up the front end. It does apparently have a nearly 50-50 weight balance.
I believe it.
And did you drive it in sport mode at all?
I didn't.
Oh,
Was it worth it?
I don't know. We'll have to try it out.
I'll have to try it.
Yep.
Yeah, I did.
Almost per hour's drive.
Yeah, it's my road. I did have Emily with me last night, so I wasn't hustling too hard.
Sure.
I just left it normal mode and everything, and was behaving myself. But it was still a good amount of fun.
Not the best turning radius, so if you are considering this for a lot of tighter city-type driving, you might find yourself having to do 3-point turns a little bit more than you're used to, but I think it's within spec. It's not like Focus RS levels of bad or anything.
Yeah, I didn't have any issues. Whew. You get a lot of instantaneous torque and lowdown. I don't know if you can really say lowdown, but then, like, for instance, like off the line, it's like it feels quick up until about 40 miles per hour, and then it just falls off. Yeah,
it's very conventional electric vehicle in that way, and that's where, I mean, you're getting that initial grunt is from the battery coming in. The hydrogen fuel cell itself doesn't provide any crazy amounts of power or torque, but it's kind of the way that Toyota has paired the electric motors together with that. I mean, it's all electric motor, but it works pretty darn well for daily driving, let's say that. We're going downhill right now, but once we get into a flatter section and we can kind of throw it into sport mode and play around with it, we'll let you hear what it sounds like. Ride quality has been pretty good. Seems pretty well built. This is one of the highest mileage press vehicles we've had. We're about to roll over 11,000 miles on this car, which we joke 110,000 journalist miles on this car. But it is
feels great.
Holding up quite well, which is no big surprise with the Toyota.
Yeah. But like we said, this would be, if you were to buy a brand new Mirai, it'd be just like this one.
Yes.
I wonder if you can defeat traction control and drift it.
Traction control turned off. Stability? Doesn't look like we're getting stability off, which honestly, for a Toyota even let you turn off traction control while you're moving is something to be said.
That is something, yeah.
But we will, once we get out of town here, go up into sport mode.
You do have eco mode as well.
Yes, if you want to be more economic.
Very numb throttle response. Ooh.
Yeah, it's just very delayed.
I appreciate the physical climate control panel.
I do
cooled
too.
Seats.
This is honestly a really great layout in general for a vehicle.
However, it doesn't have a volume knob.
Yeah, it is a thing. These are buttons and they don't work super well.
No, they don't. But luckily you have a steering wheel control, which does work well.
That's a good point.
So that'll make up for it. I was very cross last night when I got in this car and I was hooking up Apple CarPlay, which does hook up very easily. Plug in and it's ready to go. But then my music was like blasting when I turned it on and I was like, so I had to like spam the down button. But also.
Yes? Yes.
Yeah. You'd think for this being a California car, you'd have a lot of emphasis on the visors because of all the sun that the car would be seeing.
Yeah, you do put your foot to the floor and it's not exactly dramatic. as evidenced by the fact that I did that, and Chris was able to continue his sentence without moaning.
Just wait till you're in the passenger seat.
You're gonna really floss it.
Yep.
So I'm receiving a phone call. All right, we're gonna get to go around and corner.
Brake pedal feel? Not great.
Yeah, it does have that very classic Toyota sponginess regen deal going to it.
It's like very much like a vintage hybrid feel in the brake pedal.
Yeah.
Feels good though.
Yeah, it's a understandably fairly low center of gravity. You do have to carry your speed, but if you can do that, it's not a car anyone would get for hustling.
Yeah.
But it does kind of work being rear-wheel drive and kind of having that instant grunt. But yeah, not a sportsmobile. All right, we're going to fast forward to when Chris and I find some hydrogen fuel.
Yes.
And we are going to see how that works and wrap things up here with the Mirai.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the very first hydrogen station that we found on the government's map is indeed operational, as evidenced by the two other Mirais that pulled in here right after we did. We actually let them fuel up first, and the individual in front of us seems to have done okay in filling up. So let's go experience hydrogen filling for the first time.
Let's do it.
Now, this should be a fairly similar experience to gasoline. Oh yeah, right down here, there's still a little tank pop-out thing. Chris is going to open that.
Pops open just like a regular fuel door, and then you have this little plastic cover that goes over this big metal piece.
Yeah,
and look, they give you a little place to put that.
So you're not
just like a gas cap.
Dangling around. We're actually just at a Chevron fuel station here.
Yes, with two food trucks out front.
Yeah, and they smell delicious.
Quite nice.
Yeah, no, it is usually on brand for Chris and I to promote a food place while we're filming, but we don't know who these people are. We can't vouch for them. But you'll see there's just a little hydrogen pump stuck on the side. It looks like there used to be two, but I bet you this is what's known as this was an H35. And Chris, what that means between H70 and H35 is it was a lower barometric pressure that one could provide, and you could actually only fill your car up to halfway if you were using that one. So if you want to fill your Mirai all the way up to full, you need at least an H70 because that provides higher pressure into the tank.
Right.
Right.
So
it says
$22 per kilogram. I don't know what that means. And there's another Mirai pulling in.
So the Mirai seems to be...
it's a popular car here.
Yeah.
Do you think Mirai owners do like the Jeep Wave thing? Like the...
I think it's unlikely. They're probably too smug.
That's not very nice. The two people that we met were quite
You're right.
nice.
They were very nice. You're right. $22.50 as Chris said, price per kilogram.
Is that a lot?
Well, I'll explain that as we're
That's
going.
crispy.
So as to not...
That's very crispy.
Yeah, would you like to try? I already did it once.
Okay.
So you simply put that on there.
Oh, it's freezing cold.
And you just push. There you go.
That's it?
Yep, and then we press this.
So now it's like pressurizing or something?
Yep, it's under a lot of pressure. It's going to put that in. That's why you have this locking collar here.
Okay.
And then you'll notice it may kind of stop and go as it's filling. So you see here we've jumped up.
How much? What's the capacity?
5.6 kilograms. So it
would
would be well
$100.
over $100 to fuel.
But it only needs half a tank.
Right. And if you break it down, I did the math before this because I knew you'd ask. It is quite a bit more expensive than gasoline, especially more expensive than doing an electric vehicle or something, but it's kind of the price you pay for being kind to the environment.
That's right, but also Toyota will cover the first $15,000.
Toyota does pay for the first $15,000, yes.
So if you're just, owning this car for, how long would you have to own it for it to start costing you? Quite a while.
About 36 cents per mile at current prices. So do that math. You could do 45,000 miles or so. 45, 50,000 miles at current prices.
3 years.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And one of the reasons hydrogen costs so much is that, I think we might be about done here soon. Nope. Is that it's still very difficult to make hydrogen, if you will.
There's another Mirai.
All the different colors. We've seen so many.
We've seen every single color. There was a dark blue, a bright blue, and now a white and a black.
I'd like to think that everyone's admiring this new model.
That's right.
Because the first guy did say that this one looks quite good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is a good comparison for the viewers to see what the car used to look like.
Yeah. More like looks kind of like a Corolla IM.
It does. And
or
it
Prius
looks like
Prime.
Prius Prime and a Corolla IM had a baby.
That's it, yeah. Oh, and actually, I didn't want to fill this all the way, so we can stop now.
How?
Remove nozzle, pull back on lock tab. So, very easy. And there we are. Hey there. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, we're just about done. And we're all set. There we go. I'm going to get my receipt, and then we will head on out. It's just like getting gas.
Sweet. You noticed how every single person that came in asked if it was working.
Yes. Well, that is what the first owner that we talked to who came in, he said he was quite happy with the Mirai ownership and driving experience, but he did say the most difficult part is that a lot of these stations, there are only so many speckled around SoCal here, and a lot of them, I shouldn't say a lot, but it is fairly common for them to stop working and be out of commission for a certain time. So you'll see the owners kind of coming through and driving by and being like, oh, like I wanted to see if this was even working properly. But that was easy. That was nice.
That was quite easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very straightforward.
Didn't take very long. I can definitely see the appeal to that, and owning it is similar to just gasoline.
Yeah.
All right, we are ending this review in the parking lot of a middle school, which was supposed to be a church according to Google Maps, but isn't. So Chris and I are going to make this brief, a little bit of a walk around. But I quite enjoyed living with this car.
Me too.
And we're not going to talk too much about the pros and cons to hydrogen, but the main kind of shtick is if we want a future that is less reliant on fossil fuels, we need to have varying options. And for a lot of people, daily driver type cars, EVs will be totally fine. But if you want to do longer driving, if you want to do towing, something like that, hydrogen is another good option of a fuel that is not harmful for our environment and has that quick refill time. Works very similarly to how we're used to gasoline cars working. The driving experience might not be thrilling in this sort of application. Now, other brands have used things like hydrogen combustion, experimented with that, and that really does just drive like a gasoline car. But right here in 2023, if you do want to feel like you're living in the future a little bit, and if you live in California, you can have yourself a hydrogen electric hybrid vehicle like this, and the Mirai honestly provides a pretty cool way to do that. We wouldn't super recommend having many rear seat passengers. The depth of the rear seat backs might make a car seat work okay if it's forward facing, but probably wouldn't really recommend it. But the front area is a very nice place to be, and I've enjoyed having it. Any further thoughts?
Very well said.
Thank you.
And it looks like a Lexus.
It does look like a Lexus, and a quite good one at that.
Oh, Charlie.
What?
It has a power adjust steering column.
Thank you for mentioning that, Chris.
You're welcome.
Yes, we know at over $50,000 it needs to have that, and thankfully it does. So thank you all so much for watching. We hope that if you are a Mirai inquirist, if you will, that you found this useful. But even if you're just a car person, know that if our future needs to move away from gasoline, if it's done like this by Toyota, it's done pretty well. Thank you all for watching. We are Charlie and Chris with Daily Motor, and as always, spicy EV on.